Okay, so in this next video, we're going to tackle the lone exposure. Now, I try to do several exposures when I do lone exposure because it's very hard to get it right on one photo, especially when you put an ND filter on. Now, one of the trouble of the ND filter, and that's why I think a lot of people do black and white with ND filter, is that it gives a very, very strong cast magenta. As you can see, the photo is very reddish. Now, it kind of works for sunsets, you know, because it's a warm color. So anyway, here we have, let me press the I key. We've got what? We've got a 35-second exposure at f13. And then we've got a 64-second exposure at f13. So a much longer exposure. And then we have a much shorter one, a 34-second at f14. But I like how the clouds are in this one. So I think, yeah, I'm gonna look at the water. See the water here? We can see some details and some texture. Now, if we take the 64-second, it's like pure nice. Now then we have we have this boat, which is not kind of nice. But anyway, I like the water here, and I like the sky here. So yeah, I think I'm gonna take both. So first, I'm gonna retouch this one. Thinking about the water and thinking about the buildings. So let's do my standard workflow, which is opening up the shadows, bring down the highlights, and then doing the whites and doing the blacks. Okay, so that's the standard procedure. Now you see the sky is way too bright, so I'm going to put an ND filter on it. So put down the exposure and up. Get this done maybe even further. So it's going to help blend both of these photos. Okay, then I'm gonna go to the noise. Let's zoom in and check the noise. Yeah, it's pretty grainy, so let's go to the noise and let's take out some noise. I guess, yeah, you have to go strong on exposure because it really adds noise. So I think I'm gonna go around 40 and I'm gonna go with the colors at 100. Okay, the whole way at 100. And then I'm going to get the sharpening around 80 or 90. And then I'm going to do the masking with the option key. I right click until all the water is totally black. I only want the sharpening to be on anything on textures, not on the water, on the sky. Okay, let's add a bit of clarity to this entire photo here. A bit of clarity, so we have a bit of punch, a bit of vibrance. Okay. So I kind of like that. Now I'm going to Command Shift C this, check all, make sure this is all checked, and then take the next one, which is more for the sky, and Command V, what I've done. Okay, so now I'm going to do some, I'm looking at the sky, so the highlights, maybe I went a bit too down. The shadows, that's cool. The whites, let's press the option key. Maybe we get the whites a bit better. The blacks is certainly too strong. So let's put down the blacks. Let's raise a bit the exposure. I'm just looking at the sky. I'm going to take that sky and put it on this photo. I just find it a bit more interesting, you know, and that's the whole purpose of blending, you know, just take several elements and just make them you know, as you like. Okay. So let's right click, take both photo, right click, edit, and open as layers in Photoshop. Okay, open anyway. When you get this message, it's because usually your Photoshop is not up to date with Lightroom or vice versa. Sometimes, you know, Adobe releases some camera stuff before the Lightroom stuff, and so you have you know, a version trouble. But anyway, you can still open from Lightroom into Photoshop. It usually works well. So we have the dark one on the bottom and the light one on the top. I'm going to reverse that. I'm going to put the dark one on the top, okay, and the light one on the bottom. I'm going to hide completely. Now I have to take a decision about this boat. Do I want it to be in motion or not? Because I really like how the light part of the water is. So you know what? I'm going to take the dark. I'm on the dark layer, and I'm going to press the option key and click on the mask to make a dark mask. Then I'm going to take a brush make sure it's white. So I press X for the white as the foreground color. Put the opacity at 100, and I'm just gonna paint here. I made a bit of a mistake. I should not have painted over Notre Dame. Something like that. Now let's zoom in and see how is Notre Dame. Is it good or is it not good? Yeah, Notre Dame is doing fine. No problem. The blending is cool. Let's check out the boat. Let's zoom in. Okay, so the boat is getting... Now, if I don't want the boat to be all fuzzy, I can just take my brush, put it the size of the boat, press X for the white, and oh sorry, X for the black, yeah. And I just get my boat to be sharp. So because on the dark photo, that's why I'm betting on white on it. So white is making things appear, and it's making the dark layer appear. And on the dark layer, the boat was not all fuzzy. So now we've got best of both worlds. You see, I just added the drama of the underexposed photo. Okay, let me just here up X. Maybe just take a little bit out here. Okay, that's perfect. Now look at the mask. It's white on the top for the dark exposure and black on the bottom. Now I could complete this into Photoshop. I could do the dodge and burning, the contrast, everything in Lightroom, but in Photoshop. But let's do it in Lightroom for the fun of sake. So Command W, and I'm going to click on Save, and it's going to be saving the photo and putting it back into Lightroom. So let's go back into Lightroom. Here we have it. Okay. So now I'm into Lightroom, and let's finalize the retouch here. I think I'm going to add a bit of contrast to this photo, and I'm going to open up a bit the shadows a bit more. Okay. Now the white balance, let's see if I can go a bit to the right. Yeah, add a bit of yellow. I think that's kind of cool. I think I'm going to add a bit of blue here on the top. So I'm going to take back my ND filter. I'm going to make the exposure, yeah, just about normal. I just want to add a bit of blue on top here, just to make a little bit of blue here, contrasting to the sun. I like that, you know, because that's usually how it is in real life. Okay, and maybe add a bit of clarity on the overall result. Not so much, because it's going to take a lot of exposure off. And let's do some dodge and burning. So dodge and burning, I'm going to take the brush, press the Option key, put this on 0, just open up the exposure a little bit. And I just want to brighten up here and brighten up there. Make a couple of circles, a bit stronger maybe, something like that. Okay, new, and let's do the same thing here. Let's do some, you know, streaks here, just like if there was motion on the water. It's a bit strong, but I do it on purpose a bit strong, and I'm just going to lower a bit my brush so it's hardly visible. Okay, and let's see how is Notre Dame. Notre Dame is cool. Let's click new and let's add a bit of exposure on Notre Dame, but let's do it in a zoom fashion, something like that. Okay, yeah, cool. Let's click back here. Now I don't like, because my screen is a bit blurry because it's a low resolution screen. So when I'm done on the last video, I will be back with my high res screen so we can inspect all the photos and see which one is the best. Okay, and let's just lower the post crop vignetting to make it a bit more dramatic. And I think I'm gonna go for the same. Yeah, I think I'm gonna take this cropping. So Command Shift C, check none, just process version and crop selected, copy, and then I'm gonna go into this one, which is the final one, and Command V. So I just copy the cropping. I like that cropping that I did. It works well for this photo. Okay. I think I'm gonna add a bit more dodge and burn just because I'm crazy about dodge and burn, but that's just me, you know. That's just me. Maybe add just a little bit here, a bit stronger, and maybe a bit here. I like what it does to the photos, you know, it just adds texture. Maybe a bit here also. Okay, that's about it. Okay, I think this one is done. So this is a mixture of 2 exposure. I put the rating to 2. And in the next video, we will compare all the retouching and all the different techniques and see what you like the most. But this will be on a high res monitor.